Live, how to spot a logic shift and why it works. Picture this. You are halfway through a video and you are leaning into the topic. You didn't plan to care about the history of a random board game, and yet you cannot look away. That sudden spike in your pulse is not an accident. It was engineered. By the end of this, you will understand the invisible gear shift that your creator uses to hijack your brain. Just like we said on the thumbnail. It's called logic shift. I'm going to show you how to spot it every time. Do you think most people stay watching a video because the topic is interesting? Here's a secret. People stay watching because the creator just broke their brain ability to predict the future. This inability to predict the future is called logic shift, and we are going to show you how to spot it. Think of your brain as a highly sufficient and efficient predicting machine. It is constantly trying to guess the next word, guess the next scene, and guess the next point. For example, when you are driving on a familiar road, let's say you're driving home, you zone out. Why does that happen? Well, it happens because your brain already knows every turn. For this reason, many YouTube videos are like that, familiar road. They are predictable, they are linear, and eventually they become background noise and people will click away. Remember this, when your brain predicts correctly, it gets bored. When it gets bored, what do you think happens? You'll click away right away. But it gets worse for the creator. The moment your brain stops guessing, your dopamine levels drop lower and lower and lower. The logic shift is a solution to the biological shutdown that occurs when the brain is bored. The logic shift is a sudden pivot in the narrative that forces your brain to throw away its old prediction and start all over. Imagine you are watching a documentary about the most famous and most dangerous shark. For 3 minutes, the narrator gives you exactly what you predict. What are you predicting? Teeth, blood, statistic. Your brain is in autopilot. Then the narrator says, well, sharks are not the deadliest thing in the water. Whoa. Suddenly, the old mental map is useless. Your brain wakes up and asks, then what is the most dangerous things in the water? What is the deadliest thing in the water? And that is the shift that you're looking for. The creator didn't just give you an answer. He gave you a better question. You know the move. It feels like a door opening just as you're about to walk out of the room. This part changes everything. The term logic shift actually comes from computer science. In computing, logic shift is a bitwise operation. What does that mean? Logic shift moves every bit in a binary number one position to the left or to the right. Okay? Think of it like a row of people sitting in chairs. Everyone move one seat to the left. The person at the end falls off and is discarded forever. The empty seat at the other end is filled with zero. What does that have to do with what we're talking about? Well, in storytelling, a logic shift works exactly the same way. The creator shifts the entire perspective of the video from old assumptions are the bits that falls off the edge. They are gone. The old assumption is forever gone. The new information is in. That zero that fills the gap is in. That's the new information. The value of the data has completely changed, and so has your interest on the new topic. In storytelling, how is logic shift done? Well, rule one, you establish the obvious. The best creators start from telling you something you already believed on. They build a comfortable, predictable path for your brain to follow. Rule number two, the contradiction. Just as you feel smart and settled, they pull the rug out. They pull the rug out, and what happens? What happens when that happens? Your entire perspective shifts. Okay. Your entire perspective shifts. They reveal flaws in the logic or deeper layer that you didn't know was coming. Rule number three, replace the model. What does that mean, replacing the model? They don't just leave you confused, they give you a new model, a new, more exciting way to see the topic. Now let's take a look at the infographics and let's see if you're able to follow along. I put it in at the beginning, but I took it out to see if you were able to follow. But if you're not, just connect to my infographic and that will give you an idea of what's going on. You could see the logic shift, which is the psychology behind addictive video. Now, did you know that some of the best creators in the world work for years and make no money because they never learned this logic shift principle? You find it hard to believe, I would say, that that's the case. But be that as it may, that does occur where some of the most famous individuals, especially if you're not monetized, there's always a reason why monetization escapes you. And that could be one of the major reasons why, the storytelling ability is lacking some of the principles such as logic shift. Those famous creators make the mistake of delivering facts like a textbook instead of transforming it into something new, into something interesting, into something your brain is able to locate, to something your brain is able to work with. But when logic shift hits, the algorithm notices. Your watch time rockets up. YouTube sees that you are not just hovering, you are locked in. You understand the principle of what's going on. It's kind of obvious. And this will lead to what? It leads to more recommendation and higher growth. Are you aware that some people think high retention is about fast editing and loud music? Well, in reality, high retention is about how many times you can make your viewer rethink what they know. I think that makes sense. We know now that it took decades of television and film to perfect this psychological trap. Now it's being used to keep you watching video about power washing a driveway. You can expect this shift by listening for transition phrases. Listen for, well, there is a problem. Listen for, everything changes when we realize this. Listen for, that's what everybody gets wrong. These aren't filler words. They are the sound of a gear shifting. If a video feels impossible to turn off, count the logic shift. Usually there is one every 90 seconds. The goal of this video has not changed, but your perspective has. Now you know how it works. Now you know how logic shifts work. It's a question to continue the discussion. What is a video that kept your watching away longer than you intended? Tell us in the comments so we can deconstruct the logic. And keep on posting. Subscribe if this breakdown helped you. We use our subscribers to help us feed our veterans. Watch my next video here and my next video here.